me start by introducing myself, and then we're going to go around the circle, and I want to hear everybody's name. And some of you already know from past workshops, but some of you are new, so looking forward to making new friends. But my name is Jennifer Payne, and I'm the principal at Compton Junior High, and I also am a mother of 7, 4 adopted, 3 that I have given birth to, and I have been doing these workshops since July, and I really enjoy it because I like to meet you guys and just make new connections, and you guys have been just fabulous every time that we've come. So the way I like to do this is really more just discussion. Me standing up there just talking the whole time, it is not really very
sociable.
Yeah, it's not very sociable, and I don't think very productive. So I do appreciate any questions or input. I realize that some of you are here just to kind of log your time, and I get that too, but I'm hoping that it'll be advantageous for you as well. So again, my name's Jennifer. So what we're going to do today, the workshop that they asked me to do is kind of a career planning thing. So take one and pass them around. And if you could put your name on it, I know this sounds like school, but it would just help if one gets left behind, we know who to forward it to. And so oftentimes when we have people at about your age, and I don't know what age range we have here, I'm guessing anywhere between 18 and 24. Is anybody older than 24? Or younger than 18? Okay, usually 18 to 24 is where you're trying to figure out what the heck do I want to do with my life, and how will I sustain myself with some sort of income, okay? And some of us have jobs, some of us are in school, some of us have careers, and that's awesome. But this just is it's a career planning document that will allow you to really think through what it is you want to do and how to get there. It's just a starting point. So we're going to go through this quickly, and then if you have any questions or need any help, I can give you my number and I can help resource you. Hi. And I don't know that we're on the table, but
I think we have a clipboard.
Okay, very good.
You want to go ahead and sit right over here?
Okay, and then you want to give her that? Thank you.
I do.
Ryan.
That's her card down.
Okay. So anyway, sorry for the filming. The first thing you would want to do is you would want to say, okay, what would I like to do for a career or for work? And it could be something that requires a college education. It could be something that doesn't, a trade. Just what is it that you think you would like to do? Now, what I would recommend is you notice here the note, it says take a free online career aptitude test. This is something you can do at home, but if you just type in free online career aptitude test, there's tons of tests that come up that's just several questions, and then they pop up several fields or possible careers that you could go into. It really helps because sometimes we think, gosh, I don't know what's out there. But it really does, they do a good job of looking at your skills and your personality and kind of matching you to certain things, okay? But since we aren't going to do that today, you can do that at home. What I would like you to do is answer these 8 questions right now, and then we'll talk about how those can help direct us toward any particular career, okay? And if you have a question, I can explain it. For example, question 4 says, are you goal-oriented or task-oriented? Goal-oriented means you want somebody to give you a goal and you figure out how to do it. Task-oriented means just give me the tasks to do and I'll finish them. So that's the difference between those. Okay, after you take a minute to go ahead and just have a few more people finishing up. Now, we don't really have time for me to go around and listen to every single one of you read off the things that you wrote, but what typically we would do, and I'm willing to do this if you want to get together at any other time, is we can read over these and I can share with you some possible careers that might match your particular personality and skill set. And I'm open to do that with anybody who is willing or would like to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share mine and talk about my career and how this fits. And then if any of you, I want at least 1 or 2 of you to share yours, so that we can see how that process works. So for me, I prefer working, actually, I put office because I don't want to work outdoors, but I prefer to work indoors, if that makes sense. Not necessarily in an office, but indoors. And I much prefer working with people than by myself. I want to be the leader. I want to lead. I am very goal oriented. I would prefer someone to give me a goal and I figure out how to reach it, as opposed to just people saying do this, complete these tasks. I'm much more goal oriented. My favorite subject in school was really all of them, but I love science and history probably the most. My talents and my experiences. I put fostering children or adopting children, music, sports, teaching. I've taken trips to Africa and some pretty exotic places, so that's kind of an experience I bring to the table. And I also put down people skills in terms of how I relate to people. And then do I like to create or support? I do like to do both, but I really love to be creative. I like to have a problem to solve and figure out how to solve it. And I like to take whatever resources I have and make something of that. Okay? And in terms of if there were no limits, what work or career do I prefer? I put down teacher. Even though I'm a principal, I would still much rather be back in the classroom teaching. I love teaching. But I also put, in addition to that, I'd love to do some sort of mission work overseas where I'm working with really poor people. And I also put down, this is crazy, but I really want to be an interpreter, a Spanish interpreter. That is what I really would love to do, is be a Spanish interpreter. So all of this being said, my career right now as a principal really does match all of this, because I work indoors, I work with people, I lead, I set goals, and I work towards them. I utilize my people skills. You know, I have to create constantly, and just to be honest with you, I do a lot of interpreting just as a principal when I'm in meetings with parents. And to be honest, also being a principal requires me to do a lot of social work, a lot of missions work, being that my mission is my students and their families. So I just want 2 people who would be willing to share their responses. Yes, go, and what was your name again?
Homer.
Homer, go ahead.
You want me to start from 1?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so 1, indoor or office, it really doesn't matter
Okay.
to me.
All right.
2, either or. 3.
So you're both, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 is either or. Preferably I'm goal oriented.
Uh-huh.
I like to work off goals instead of tasks.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite subject in school was history and music class.
Music?
Yes.
What kind of music?
More like orchestra, piano,
Oh,
things like that.
cool.
With talents, music, sports, people skills.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather create than to support. And if there's no limits, what career do I prefer? It would be flight attendant. I think I would be really good on the plane.
Oh. Yes, I can see that, because a flight attendant is indoors, right? Likes to work with people, can lead and take orders. That's good. Goal oriented. Let's see. People skills, gotta have that. And so that's awesome. I think that what you're saying really would fit into something like that. Do you think that you would get bored doing the same thing every day, or do you think the fun part of it would be traveling?
Traveling a lot, but I have a friend who's actually a flight attendant, so.
And he or she?
She.
And she tells you about it, and it sounds
Yeah.
like something you'd like to do. That's
Mhm.
awesome.
And the pay is great. So.
Yeah. For me, it would be the traveling.
Yeah.
And then you want to do the next one?
Yeah, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Outdoors.
Okay, outdoors.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Yes.
Yes to, you would prefer to work with people or alone?
With people.
Okay.
Well, and the third one is be a leader and
Okay.
or be part of. I mean, there's companies aren't really made up of leaders; they're just organizations.
Okay.
They have meetings every now and then. Goal, and you're gonna do the task. So none of them. I don't like any school.
All right.
I have experience in painting, like art,
Uh-huh.
and with animals, with like birds.
Mm-hmm.
I like to both create and support.
Mm-hmm.
If there were no limits, I'd be the CEO of Apple. Yeah.
Right. Okay, gosh, is there anything else that you would think of that you would maybe, because when I hear the things you're talking about, I think of a zoologist or a forester or nothing like that.
Maybe marine biologist
Mm-hmm.
on the fifth whenever. I'd be because the ocean is like trippy.
Okay, and that's outdoors, working with people, and there's a lot of creative things that
If
you
you
can
look
do
at some
now.
of those fishes, they're like you get some sort of like this. You don't see Earth the same way no more.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so what I'd like you to do right now is I want you to just kind of read through your own responses, and this is kind of how it works. Technically, we should probably do it with one other person, but since we don't have that time, what I'd like you to do is just kind of reflect yourself on your responses, and then at the bottom write three top choices for any career that you might be interested in. Oh. Did you get one? Sorry. Yeah, you got my original. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is we're going to go around. I want to hear them. I want to hear what some of your thoughts are in terms of your three top career choices, with the first one being your number one, okay? So I went ahead and put principal or teacher, mission work, and Spanish interpreter. So let's go around this way, and you just give your three.
Diesel and automotive mechanics, criminal justice, or business owner.
Okay, perfect. Next.
Me?
Yes, Ryan.
I only put two because
Okay.
I couldn't think of
That's fine.
third one. Working with animals and helping people in need / SSW, which is abbreviation for social worker.
Yeah, social work.
But do the job and help the person the right way.
Right.
Most, in my own opinion, I hope nobody else gets offended, but you know, if I'm wrong, let me know. A lot of social workers, I believe they're more in it for the money than not the child. That's why a lot of kids in the system are the way they are. Because, you know, it's more.
So based on your experiences, you want to be that social worker that you didn't have.
The money wouldn't be
Right.
the most important thing,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean it's not, you know, important at a point.
Right.
That child is my property, and I want to make sure he's all polished up and, you know, set for life.
Okay, thank you. Next.
For number one, I put a business,
Uh-huh.
and then
You mean business owner or?
yeah,
Okay,
and then two, barbering, and
Cool.
third, tattoo artist.
excellent. Very good. Did you have a chance to fill this out, or are you thinking?
I know mine too.
Well, give it.
Well, I'm actually doing what I want to do.
Excellent.
I'm a pharmacy tech, but if I had the money, I would be a pharmacist.
Okay,
That's what I would want to do.
very good. Okay, next, Ebony.
I picked social working,
Uh-huh,
open my own daycare,
yes.
or be a chef.
Wonderful, that's excellent. Next.
Registered nurse, counselor of some sort, and then the third one's a teacher.
Very good. Yes,
A,
Homer.
flight attendant,
Mm-hmm. Flight attendant for
like
your
a
second.
life counselor or something like that for you.
Oh, very good.
Or a music producer.
A music what?
Producer.
Producer. Good. Raya.
My number one is social worker, and the second one is nurse, and the third one is ultrasound technician.
Very good.
Well, I'm doing one of them as a machinist.
Yes.
Second one will be a mechanic, and the third one will be a marine boat tech,
Oh,
because I go deep sea fishing a lot.
oh, neat. That'd be fun. Next.
I'm juvenile probation officer.
Mm-hmm.
And lawyer for immigration.
Excellent. I actually have a friend who's a lawyer for immigration, and he loves it. He does great work. Appreciate that. Next.
My first is medical assistant. I just graduated and I still want to become a medical assistant.
Okay.
Second, social worker, and then third, teacher.
Very good.
Well, the first one I put is phlebotomist. I am a certified licensed phlebotomist and a certified medical assistant. And then the second one I put for surgical tech, and the third one would be an RN.
Go ahead.
Any work in criminal justice or a teacher?
What teacher? What kind of teacher?
Math teacher.
We need math teachers. They're hiring anybody right now. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So that's a great thing to go into. Next.
Put law enforcement, social worker, or personal trainer / coach.
Yeah, did you notice that? Me too. Go ahead.
Which one do you wanna be?
Yes, your top three.
I should put marine biologist.
Training.
Okay.
Okay, marine biologist, lung doctor,
That's pretty specific.
okay, or a pilot.
Pilot.
Yeah.
I can hook you up with someone. I actually know he's we have a pilot school here in Bakersfield. You are aware of that out at Meadows Field, and the main pilot in charge of training other pilots is a friend of mine. That's someone I can hook you up with. Okay. So that's awesome. So here's the bottom line. Every single one of those things that you listed are all possible. All possible. All. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to think through what is it that we need to do or have in order to become that. We can map out a timeline in order to reach that goal, and then we can talk about resources that will help you get there. Okay? So like, for example, you said, I don't have the money. No, you can find, there is money out there. It is possible. So what I want you to do is I want you to write the 3 things that you put down there, or 2, whatever, under career. And then what you're going to do is take a few minutes, and this might be something you'll have to continue to do at home too, maybe as you research it. But you have to list the education you'll need in order to reach that particular career. And the second one, what character skills or personality traits will you need in order to fulfill that career? And then the last one is just what skills do you need? For example, you mentioned a social worker. A social worker is going to need at least a degree. It doesn't necessarily have to be in social work, but that's preferable. Character qualities, a social worker, as Ryan pointed out, has to be someone who cares about kids, who puts the needs of the kids over their own needs, someone who is honest and fair, you know, these kinds of character traits that a person would need. Someone who has compassion, maybe even empathy for how it feels to be a foster kid. And then the skills needed, well, they would need people skills. They would need organizational skills because there's a lot of paperwork involved. So think through what are some of the skills, the education, the character, and the skills I would need for each one of those. And I would just kind of bullet them or number them within that square, okay? And I realize that you won't be able to come up or think of all of them right today, but this is something you can research on your own.
Put under character.
For which marine biologist, character skills would you need? You would need, I would think you would need You would need perseverance. Do you know what I mean? You know, like it's something you'd have to be somebody who sticks to something and doesn't give up. Because when you're dealing with animals and that kind of thing, it's very unpredictable. So you would need perseverance. You would need the ability to get messy and not be afraid of getting your hands dirty. You know what I'm saying? That kind of a thing.
Like you're dealing with
Yeah. So you don't get grossed out easily.
or mucus or
Exactly.
or fluid.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that most all careers require a hard work ethic. Also the ability to problem solve, to work with teams. Do you guys hear that? Well, I would say almost all careers require the ability to work hard, to be prompt and show up on time, to work well with a team, to be able to solve problems. These are skills that kind of go along with everything. And then some things take certain skills that are more aligned with that career. For example, a teacher, you have to be able to communicate with a large group of kids. Number one, you have to be able to manage behaviors all at the same time. So these are skills that are specific to being a teacher, for example. What? Go ahead.
What about doctor?
A doctor, I would say you would have to be good at math and science. Those are some, character you mean? Oh, character would be great with people, because don't you hate it when you get a doctor who doesn't care about you? So you have to be good with people. You have to be very caring, you know? You have to be able, that talk about problem solving skills, because you have to be able to identify what the issue is with a person, say this is what's causing whatever it is, you know. You have to be able to read reports and data and find a solution. Yeah, those kinds of things. Yeah. Okay, what I want you to do is I want you to take a minute, and I'm going to partner you up, and I want you to give each other some other things that maybe you're not thinking of. So read what you've come up with in terms of character, education, and skills. And if you can think of something to contribute to that, then that would help. So why don't the two of you work together, okay? And you two right here, and you two right here, okay? And would you work with Rhea? And would you work with Homer over there? Yes. Two of you work together. Well, Ryan, are you gonna stand right there? Why don't you work with? Okay, then work right there. And then if you two can just collaborate a little bit. So just kind of read to each other what your career is, what education, character, and skills you came up with. And then maybe you can say, hey, what about this or what about that? Okay. All right. You want to move on? Can you move on over? I appreciate it. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and just wrap up our conversations a little bit. Now, I want to remind us again, we're not going to come out of this today with a complete plan. This is just the kinds of questions that we ask ourselves and the way we kind of organize ourselves when planning and thinking about the future and what we want to do. I would expect you to go home and Google what's the education, what are the character traits, and the skills needed for whatever profession you want to go for, okay? Because we're just kind of thinking about it and sharing about it, but really it's much more extensive than what we can do here. Okay, so I'm just giving you the tools to go home and figure this out. Now, once you have, like I said, first step is take a career aptitude test or answer some questions and think about what is it I really would be good at and would love to do. That's the first step. Second step is to kind of select at least 3, because you got to have a plan B in case plan A doesn't work out. Okay, then step 3 is you take each one of those and you Google what education, what character, what skills do I need to reach that goal. Okay, step 4 right here where it says choose your top career choice and pace a timeline for acquiring the above skills. So for example, let's just take a social worker, because that came up quite a bit. The education, you'll need a degree in social work. I think you can also have a degree in something like psychology or liberal arts or something related, but it would probably be best, of course, if you got a degree in social work. So in terms of education, I don't know where you're at. First step may be having to complete a GED. Or if you've already done a high school diploma, the next step might be a junior college, completing a couple years at BC, then transferring to a 4-year university like CSUB or wherever, okay? So then you would put in on this line here potential dates to complete that work. Okay, so the first one would be, you know, high school diploma or GED. Second would be maybe a junior college. Third would be a 4-year college to get a degree. Okay, so you would kind of plot on the timeline what you needed to do. Now, some of you, like the machinist, for example, what education was it a machinist?
High school.
Okay, so it
They
was
teach
a
you everything
machinist.
there.
So you need a high school diploma. Is there any other education that you need? Do you need workshop skill, or is it just an
Just
apprenticeship?
really
or-
good at math.
Okay, so all you need is a high school equivalency.
Yep.
Do you need any? How do you learn the job? Let me
On
ask
job training.
On the
They
job
just-
training.
You get it or you don't.
Okay, so then what I would suggest for someone like that, now he already has a job, so that's where he can get that training. But some of us maybe want to do a job, but we don't have the job. So what I've seen people do is they volunteered at particular places, and that's where they get that education. It's kind of an informal education, but it's an education. And I'll give you an example. I had a friend who he really wanted to, he wants to work at a bike shop. He loves bikes, he rides bikes, he wants to build bikes. So he went to a local bike shop in town and he volunteered. He said, you don't have to pay me. I want to contribute some hours. I want to learn how to take apart a bike, how to build a bike, how to fix a bike. And he did that, and after so many times of really proving his hard work ethic and learning that skill or that getting that education, he became an employee. So that's a way you can get an education, an informal education that's needed without having to go to college or be hired. That's just an example. So that's what you would do on this line. On the second line where it says character, it's a little bit more abstract because you got to think about, if I think about the character skills that I have, what you would want to do is first assess yourself and say, am I good at do I have these skills? Or do I not have these skills and I need them? I'm sorry, the character traits. Or do I have them but I need to get better at them? So what I would do on this line is I would just kind of plot out, set a goal. I want to work on my ability to persevere and work hard. And by this time next year, I want to become a person who doesn't give up, but sticks to something. Okay? And then maybe I'd put another little point on that timeline. The next skill or character trait I want to work on is I want to work on my people skills. Because right now my people skills aren't very good. So you would put maybe in 2 years, by that time, I want to set a goal of improving my ability to work with people. That character trait. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what you would do on that line. And then the bottom line is skills. Sometimes there are skills that you just have to learn that you're not going to learn in college or in school. It's just, for example, my friend who wanted to work in a bike shop. He didn't know how to take apart a bike and how to fix a bike. That was a skill he needed to learn. So you would do the same thing as you did with the character. You would plot out, set some goals and say, by this time next year, I want to learn this skill. And in 2 years, by this time in 2 years, I want to learn this skill. And you begin to think in terms of setting goals and improving yourself over the next couple of years to get to the point where you have those skills. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah? Does it make sense? Okay. Okay, the last thing I wanted you to do before we close is what resources will you need? For example, you mentioned I need finances, right?
Money.
Right, money. So would you take a minute to kind of brainstorm and think, what do I need in order to get the education I need, to develop the character traits that I need, to develop the skills that I need? Go ahead, brainstorm and write some things down that you think you'll need. So think about what's it gonna take to get my education, whether it's formal or informal education. What's it gonna take for my character to develop to the point I need it to be? What do I need? What do I need in order to develop the very specific skills I might need for this profession? And I will share mine with you, I'm thinking in terms of as a principal, and I'm continuing to grow and learn even though I have my career. But what I need to take advantage of professional development opportunities that my district offers. So right now, my district offers workshops for principals to get better at what they do. So I need to take advantage of those. That's my education really right now. The second thing is I need a coach or a mentor. Somebody who can coach me or mentor me in my character development. Because there are a lot of holes or gaps in my character that I'm continuing to work on, okay? And so what helps me is if I have somebody else who can mentor me and say, you know what, you're off your rocker here, let me help you get back on. And the third thing I put down in terms of my skills is I just need opportunities to practice on the job, much like you're doing, okay? And not only just opportunities to practice, but somebody to give me feedback. Who say, okay, you did great here, you might want to try this. Does that make sense? So I need a coach, a mentor, I need professional development opportunities, and I need practice with feedback. Those are some of the things I
You
need.
need criticism, helpful
Yes.
criticism?
Yes, exactly, and that's what I mean by feedback. So I would like two of you to share what resources you think you're gonna need in order to make this happen. Ryan?
I put strengths in there because my strengths are my resources.
Okay.
So I put do not give up, work hard in life, and stay strong in life.
You know what, I appreciate that you brought that out, because what you did is you took stock of your assets. You said, this is what I possess, and I need to use those to get me where I need to go.
The reason why I say strengths, because resources can mean anything, but strengths can be your help.
Absolutely.
Without strength, you're just like a thin piece of paper, you got nothing.
Right.
But when you put action into it, that's your writing. Good,
thank you. Somebody else, if you would list your resources that you put down that you need. Yeah.
A mentor. A plan, because if you don't plan, you plan to fail.
There you go.
And plenty of practice.
Excellent. A mentor, a plan, and plenty of practice. Very good. Somebody else. I only said two, I know, but I would like to hear from one more. One of our ladies. Okay, Raya, you're up.
It's Maria.
Why didn't you just tell me now? Why did I think you said Raya? And I'm sitting here calling her Raya this whole time. Maria, go ahead.
Well, I patience and counselor to let you know exactly what you need to take and to follow your career.
A patience and a counselor. Yeah, that goes like, it's almost like a coach or a mentor to help move you in the right direction. Very good, thank you. Now, you had mentioned finances, for example, and the reality is there are a lot of finances available for people to complete their education. So how many of you have ever filled out a FAFSA application? Homer, a couple of you? Write this down, F-A-F-S-A. F-A-F-S-A. And I don't even know what it stands for. It has something to do with financial aid for students. No, I don't know. Financial aid. This is an application that you can fill out, and that you have to fill it out by a certain time every year, but there's a lot of money to be had to help people finish their education. Both of my sons, one who's 22, one who's 21, who were in the foster system, their education is completely 100% free and paid for because they filled out this application and because of their background. So, and I don't know any of your backgrounds, but I'm just saying, once you reach a certain age, you also can access a lot of money to do college as well. So I would recommend that you Google that and and just fill out an application. It doesn't hurt. Finally, what I want to do is I want to give you my phone number. And you don't have to write it down, but if you would like to write it down, please do. And so my name is Jennifer Payne, P-A-Y-N-E,
Jennifer.
Payne, P-A-Y-N-E.
Oh, I thought it was like this.
Yeah, that's what my students think, P-A-I-N. And my number is 661-747-6081. And I am willing, more than willing, to sit down with any of you and go over what you want to do, help you make a real specific plan, and help you find the resources that you need to get where you want to go. Okay? So again, I'm just going to finish up by saying this is just a start. You can go home and take advantage of really mapping out a plan using these tools. Call me, and I will get together with any of you. Okay? All right. Thanks, guys. Yay! And if you want a cookie, take some more cookies.